What if I told you that living a mediocre life is worse than death? Are you ready to break free from the chains of conformity and live a life of true fulfillment? Let's dive into controversial Stoic lessons that will challenge everything you think you know about living boldly and authentically. Now, before you think this is just another self-help book, this is not a typical self-help video. Let me warn you, these lessons are not for the faint of heart. We're about to challenge some deeply ingrained beliefs and flip conventional wisdom on its head. I used to play it safe. I lived within the line society drew for me. I had a stable job, a comfortable routine, a clear path laid out. Deep down, I felt annoying emptiness. Then I stumbled upon Stoicism and its brutally honest approach to life. It wasn't easy. It wasn't always pleasant. It was transformative. Let me tell you about a time that changed my life. I was working a job that was making me unhappy. Every day, I felt like a part of a machine. One night, I was feeling restless. I picked up a book about Stoicism. The first quote I read was from Marcus Aurelius: "Death smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back." That quote really affected me. I realized that I was living a boring, average life. I was avoiding risks and playing it safe. So, I decided to take a risk. A big change. I quit my job and started my own business. Something I was truly passionate about. It was risky. I faced many challenges. I was finally living true to myself. That's the kind of big change being Stoic can inspire. Today, I'm sharing controversial and interesting Stoic lessons that have not only helped me break free, can also guide you to a life of true fulfillment. Get ready. We're about to take a journey that will challenge you. Our content has been making your day a little brighter. We'd like to reach new heights. If you'd like to support the channel, we'd be happy to receive your help. Your support will help us make even more epic content for you. Please join our exclusive Patreon community. Your support will help empower the channel. If you love to spread joy, consider becoming a patron. Please consider buying me a coffee using the link in the description below. It's a quick and easy way to show some love and keep the good vibes flowing. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being a part of this amazing journey. We couldn't do it without you. Let's get started. Lesson 1: Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Death is inevitable. We can still find joy in life. Marcus Aurelius said, "Imagine you only have one day left to live. What would you do differently? How would you spend your precious hours?" Stoic philosophy tells us to accept our mortality. It's not something to fear. Something to motivate us to live life to the fullest. Living a life with purpose and urgency. Living as if you were to die tomorrow is not about being careless or acting irresponsibly. It's about focusing on what's truly important by ignoring the minor details of everyday life. It's about realizing that most of the things we worry about daily are not very important in the grand scheme of things. Plan of things. This approach can be seen as radical because it challenges the conventional wisdom of planning for the long term. Delaying gratification. Playing it safe. Let me share a personal story to illustrate this point. A few years ago, I was working long hours in a corporate job, climbing the proverbial ladder. I had a 5-year plan. I had a 10-year plan. I thought I was doing everything right. Then, a close friend of mine, someone my age, suddenly died. It was a wake-up call. I had been planning for a future that might never come while my present was slipping away. That event forced me to reevaluate my priorities. I realized that I was living for some distant day, Rather than embracing the present, that I decided to make a big change. I quit my job. Started traveling. Did things I had wanted to do for a long time. It wasn't easy. It was hard. I felt more alive than I ever had before. Practice 1. Daily reflection. Start your day by thinking about your goals. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, how would I spend it? Use this question to guide your actions and decisions. Point 2. Focus on your relationships. Invest your time in meaningful relationships. Don't wait for the perfect moment to tell someone you love them or to fix a broken relationship. Do it now. 3. Pursue your passions. Set aside time for projects and hobbies that make your heart sing. Whether it's writing a book, learning an instrument, starting a business. Don't wait for the perfect moment. 3. Forgive others and yourself. Don't waste your time on anger and resentment. Forgive and move on from past hurts. 4. Simplify your life. Focus on what's important. Let go of things you don't need. Let go of commitments and stresses that don't add value to your life. Be present and fully engaged in each moment. This means that you should be aware of what you are doing. Whether you are spending time with loved ones or working on a project. Simply enjoying nature. Being present and appreciating the present moment. A deep message. Living as if you were to die tomorrow is about more than just seizing the day. It's about recognizing the truth that life is short and fragile. Each moment is a gift. It's up to us to decide how we will use it. Will we waste our days in the pursuit of things that do not matter? Will we live with intention, embracing each day as an opportunity to create meaning and impact? By integrating this lesson into your daily life, you can transform the mundane into the extraordinary. Ensuring that when your time does come, you can look back with no regrets. Knowing that you truly lived. The essence of Stoic wisdom is to live each day as if it were your last. Not out of fear of death. Out of a deep respect for the life you have been given. Make every moment count. Choose to live fully. Love deeply. Leave a legacy that lasts beyond the limits of time. In the end, it's not the years in your life that matter. It's the life in your years. Lesson 2. Value action over words. Well done is better than well said. Benjamin Franklin. We live in a world where talk is cheap. Social media is filled with empty promises. Grand declarations. Virtue signaling. True impact and real change are born from action. Not from words. Stoicism teaches us that our actions define us. Not our intentions or proclamations. In a society obsessed with appearances and perceptions, valuing action over words can be seen as a direct challenge to the status quo. It implies that all the talking, posting, planning in the world means. It means that words without action are meaningless. This idea can be controversial because it challenges the common practice of superficial communication and demands responsibility and authenticity. I remember a time when I spoke a lot but did not take action. I had big dreams and grand plans. They remained in my head. I would tell friends and family about my aspirations. They would approve and encourage me. I didn't do anything to make those dreams real. It wasn't until I learned to value action over words that things changed. There was a project I had always wanted to start. Something close to my heart. For years, I talked about it. Researched it. Planned it meticulously, but that was it, just talk. One day, tired of my own excuses, I decided to take the plunge. I stopped talking and started doing. Talking and started doing. The first steps were small and uncertain. They were actions, slowly but surely. Those actions added up. The project took shape. A deep message valuing action over words is about being honest and genuine. It's about making sure your words and actions are the same. In a world filled with noise, the quiet power of consistent action stands out. Your actions are a reflection of your true self, your values, your commitment to living a meaningful life. Consider the legacy you want to leave behind. Is it one of empty promises and unfulfilled potential? One of tangible achievements and real impact? Words can inspire. Actions transform. They are the true measure of our intentions and the vehicles through which we create change. Lesson 3. Wealth is a double-edged sword. Nothing without real results. This idea can be controversial because it shows that many people today focus too much on material things and not enough on being honest and genuine. I remember a time when I would talk a lot about my goals. Never actually did anything to achieve them. I would tell my friends and family about my dreams. They would say nice things to me. Bertrand Russell said, "Wealth, which is often seen as the ultimate sign of success, can both help and hurt us. While it provides comfort and opportunities, it can also make us anxious, greedy, willing to do things that go against our morals." Stoicism teaches us to see wealth as a tool, not an end in itself. To be careful of its potential to distract us from what truly matters. I remember a time when I would talk about my big dreams and grand plans. Never actually do anything about them. I would tell my friends and family about them. They would say nice things about them. In a society that is all about money and getting rich, this idea is controversial because it says that money can make you unhappy. It makes people think about whether being rich can make you poor in your heart and soul, even if you have a lot of money. This idea makes us realize that money does not make you happy. There's nothing without real results. This idea can be controversial because it shows that many people today don't take communication seriously. They want to be held responsible for their actions and be honest. I remember a time when I would talk about my goals. I didn't take action. I had big dreams and plans. I only talked about them. I would tell my friends and family about my goals. They would say nice things about it. I knew a man. Let's call him John. He was the kind of person society says is successful. He had a good job, a big house, fancy cars, a lot of material things. On the outside, it looked like he had it all. But even though he had a lot of money, John was not happy. He was always stressed about keeping up his lifestyle. He was worried about losing his money. He always felt like he needed more. His relationship suffered. His health got worse. I had a lot of big dreams. I never did anything about them. I would talk about them with my friends and family. They would say nice things about them. But I felt empty. John's story was similar to my own. When I first started earning a lot of money, I wanted to buy more and more things. I bought things I didn't need to impress people I didn't care about. The more things I bought, the less satisfied I felt. I didn't realize that I was trapped until I started following some simple principles. I learned that having a lot of money without being smart about it can be dangerous. It can easily become something bad instead of something good. A deep message. Money can be good or bad. It can free people but also control them. The important thing is not how much money a person has. What they do with it. They should have good experiences, good relationships, grow as a person. In a world that is obsessed with money, it is important to remember that the most important things in life cannot be bought. The goal is to live a life of purpose and virtue, where money is just one of many things that help us achieve our dreams. Lesson 4. Purpose over pleasure. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that the purpose of life is not to be happy. It is to be useful. To be honorable. To be compassionate. To have it make some difference that you have lived and lived well. In a world that always wants the immediate gratification of pleasure, Stoicism teaches us a different path. It encourages us to seek a life of purpose, where meaningful actions and contributions are more important than short-term pleasures. This idea makes us think about what truly brings lasting happiness. In a time where pleasure and comfort are often promoted as the most important goals, choosing purpose over pleasure can be seen as different. Cultural. This perspective challenges the hedonistic values of modern society, suggesting that a life focused solely on pleasure is ultimately shallow and unfulfilling. It questions the very foundation of consumerism and the relentless pursuit of personal satisfaction. I remember a time when my life was centered around the pursuit of pleasure. I would indulge in lavish vacations, expensive dinners. I remember a time when my life was all about having fun. I'd go on vacation, have fancy dinners, stay home to watch movies. It seemed like I was living the dream. I felt empty inside. The fun would wear off. I always wanted more. I wasn't ever satisfied. Everything changed when I found out how important it is to have a purpose. I started volunteering at a local shelter, giving my time and skills to help others. At first, it was a small commitment. It quickly became a big part of my life. The happiness I felt from helping others was better than any pleasure I had ever had. I realized that having a purpose, not just feeling pleasure, was the key to a meaningful life. Choosing purpose over pleasure is about seeking a deeper, more meaningful existence. While pleasure offers temporary satisfaction, purpose offers a more lasting fulfillment. I felt like I was living the dream. I often felt empty. The pleasure was temporary. I always found myself craving more. I was never truly satisfied. This all changed when I discovered the importance of purpose. I started volunteering at a local shelter, dedicating my time and skills to helping others. At first, it was a small commitment. Purpose provides lasting fulfillment and a sense of direction. It's about understanding that true happiness comes from contributing to something greater than ourselves and making a positive impact on the world. In a society that often equates pleasure with happiness, embracing purpose can be a radical and transformative choice. It requires us to look beyond immediate gratification and to commit to long-term goals. I thought I was living the dream. I felt empty. The pleasure was temporary. I always wanted more. I was never satisfied. This changed when I learned about the importance of purpose. I started volunteering at a local shelter, using my time and skills to help others. At first, it was a small commitment. This change in mindset lets us live more authentically and find joy in the journey, not just the destination. Lesson 5. Relationships are tools. Friendship is not something you learn in school. If you haven't learned the meaning of friendship, you really haven't learned anything. Muhammad Ali. We often romanticize relationships, seeing them as the best part of human connection and fulfillment. However, from a Stoic perspective, relationships are not just ends in themselves, also powerful tools for personal growth and support. I felt like I was living the dream. I often felt empty. The pleasure was temporary. I always found myself craving more. I never felt truly satisfied. This all changed when I discovered the importance of purpose. I started volunteering at a local shelter, dedicating my time and skills to helping others. At first, it was a small commitment. It was mutually beneficial. This viewpoint can be controversial because it challenges our sentimental notions of relationships and places a pragmatic lens on human connections. In a society that often idealizes relationships as sacred bonds of unconditional love and support, seeing them as tools might seem cold and utilitarian. This perspective implies that relationships should be evaluated based on their utility and contribution to our lives, which can be seen as reducing human connections to mere transactions. However, the Stoic view encourages us to appreciate the constant entertainment. On the surface, it seemed like I was living the dream. However, I often felt an underlying sense of emptiness. The pleasure was temporary. I always found myself craving more, never truly satisfied. This all changed when I discovered the importance of purpose. I started volunteering at a local shelter, dedicating my time and skills to helping others. At first, it was a small commitment. Practical aspects of relationships, recognizing their potential to help us grow and achieve our goals. There was a time when I valued relationships purely based on emotional connections. I believed that friendships and partnerships should be maintained at all costs, even when they were draining or unproductive. This approach led me to invest time and energy into relationships that ultimately brought more harm than good. One significant turning point was my relationship with a close friend. Let's call him David. We had known each other for years and shared many. It seemed like I was living the dream. I often felt empty. The pleasure was temporary. I always found myself craving more. I was never truly satisfied. This all changed when I discovered the importance of purpose. I started volunteering at a local shelter, dedicating my time and skills to helping others. At first, it was a small commitment. It was good. Over time, our friendship became toxic. David's negativity and lack of ambition began to affect my own outlook and productivity. I struggled with the idea of distancing myself from someone I had been so close to. But eventually, I realized that holding on to this relationship was hindering my personal growth. By embracing the Stoic perspective, I made the difficult decision to distance myself from David. This choice allowed me to focus on building healthier, more supportive relationships that contributed positively to my life. It wasn't an easy process. It taught me the importance of evaluating relationships based on how they affect my well-being and growth. A deep message. Seeing relationships as tools does not make them less important or less emotional. Instead, it encourages us to approach our connections with a sense of purpose and intention. By evaluating relationships based on how they affect our growth and well-being, we can cultivate more meaningful and fulfilling connections. Lesson 6. Don't be obsessed with fame. As Seneca said, it is not the man who has too little, the man who craves more, that is poor. In a world that glorifies fame and public recognition, Stoicism teaches us to despise fame and focus instead on inner virtue and personal integrity. Fame, often seen as the ultimate validation of success, can avoid seeking fame. A person who craves more is not poor. A person who has little is poor. Seneca. In a world that praises fame and public recognition, Stoicism teaches us to avoid seeking fame and focus instead on inner virtue and personal integrity. Fame, often seen as the ultimate success, can be a deceptive and empty pursuit. This lesson challenges us to seek fulfillment from within rather than from external accolades. In today's culture, where social media influences, celebrities and public figures are idolized, avoiding fame can seem like a radical stance. Fame is often equated with success. Fame is often seen as a sign of success, happiness, worth. Stoicism suggests that fame is temporary and superficial, distracting us from pursuing true virtue and wisdom. This perspective challenges the societal obsession with external validation and the belief that public recognition is a measure of personal value. Early in my career, I was captivated by the allure of fame. I believed that achieving recognition and public admiration would validate my efforts and bring me lasting happiness. I spent years chasing awards, accolades, public acknowledgement, often prioritizing these pursuits over my personal values and well-being. One important moment came when I achieved a significant milestone that I had wanted for a long time. At first, I was excited and proud of myself. Then I felt empty. I realized that trying to be famous was a waste of time. One important moment was when I achieved a significant milestone that I had been working towards for a long time. At first, I was excited and proud of myself. Then I felt empty. I realized that being famous was a never-ending cycle where each achievement made me want more. After this experience, I started to believe in Stoic principles, which taught me to find happiness in my own life and to focus on being a good person. I started to think that being honest, doing meaningful work, having good relationships were more important than being famous. This change in thinking made me feel very peaceful and happy, which is something that fame could never give me. A deep message. Hating fame is about understanding that. One important moment came when I achieved a significant milestone that I had long sought after. I felt a rush of excitement and validation. It didn't last. I realized that fame is a transient and superficial form of recognition. True fulfillment and happiness come from living a virtuous, honest, purposeful life. Fame can be an enticing distraction that pulls us away from what truly matters. By shifting our focus from external validation to inner growth, we can cultivate a deeper sense of contentment and peace. Stoicism teaches us that our worth is not determined by how many people know our name, by the quality of our character and the impact of our actions. Lesson 7. Challenge authority. The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance, it is the illusion of knowledge. Stephen Hawking. In a world that often values conformity and obedience, Stoicism encourages us to challenge authority and question the status quo. This lesson is about cultivating a mindset of critical thinking, intellectual independence, courage. It is not about rejecting all authority, about examining and questioning the principles and decisions of those in power. Challenging authority can be seen as rebellious. One important moment was when I achieved a significant milestone that I had been working towards for a long time. I felt a strong sense of excitement and validation at first. That feeling quickly disappeared, leaving me feeling more empty than before. I realized that trying to be famous all the time was disruptive, especially in societies that prioritize order and hierarchy. This can be controversial because it makes us question whether the people in charge are legitimate. This perspective implies that authority should not be blindly followed, that true progress and understanding often come from questioning those in control. Early in my career, I worked under a manager who was highly respected and had a lot of influence in the organization, while many colleagues accepted his decisions. One important moment was when I achieved a significant milestone that I had been working towards for a long time. At first, I was excited and proud. Then I felt empty. I realized that chasing fame was wrong. I often disagreed with his leadership style. He was too strict. He did not like new ideas. I was afraid to challenge him because I thought I might get in trouble or be alone. But I realized that not saying anything was making the work environment boring and not creative. I was inspired by Stoic principles. I decided to speak up in a respectful but strong way. I gave examples and new ideas to make things more open, and I had a breakthrough moment when I achieved a significant milestone that I had been working towards for a long time. I felt a rush of excitement and validation at first. It didn't last. I realized that chasing fame was not worth it. It created a new and exciting environment. It was a difficult and risky move. It eventually led to positive changes in how our team worked together and improved our performance. A deep message. Challenging authority is about striving for a higher standard of truth, justice, progress. It is not about rebelling for the sake of rebellion. It is about creating a culture of accountability, transparency, continuous improvement. By questioning those in power, we hold them accountable and ensure that decisions and policies are just, fair, effective,